Good afternoon. This is April 6th. This is my last piece of black locust that was kind of a twisted, came from a tree that produced a lot of twisted staves. And this has been sitting in my garage, and I kind of said to myself that this really is pretty much the best piece that I had. So what I did today was, it's either going to be firewood or a bow. So it's 68 inches long. So you see the sapwood line, the white line? I drew it out with a thin magic marker, and you can see that it matches the end grain. And you see how the grain curves? Well, I tried to cut the square so it's kind of straight. But we'll trim it up a little better afterwards. But you see the end grains match the lines on the side. So today I trimmed off a lot of material to shape it up like this. And what I'm going to do now is go on a bandsaw and carefully trim off some of this sapwood before I put a draw knife to it and take it down to a growth ring. Once I get it down to a growth ring, I'm going to look at it and make a bow blank. Okay, what I'm doing is getting down to a line on each side, even though it's twisted. And I'm taking some material off the edge first, and then the top. So it's going to be a really long process, because this bow blank, not even a bow blank, this stave that I trimmed out is from that really twisted log. And I really should just throw it in the, cut it up and throw it in the firewood and get a log that's straighter to begin with. You have less problems. But I'm a little bored today. There's nothing to do. We've got rain coming up. And this has been sitting in my garage really rough trimmed. And I just trimmed it a little narrower now. And I'm just going to see what happens after I play with it for a couple hours. One more time. A lot of hard work, and I believe I got it taken down to a growth ring, a single growth ring. And then I have the layout I put on. This is that speed bow design layout that I've been using. And it's 3/4 at the end, 8 inches down, 3/4. Then it's inch and a half at the fade out. And then what I do is I find the midpoint from the end to the fade out and mark the midpoint. This happens to be the midpoint. And the midpoint will be 1 1/4 inches. And it kind of tapers down to the bottom of the 8th. And that's the speed bow design. So I'm going to trim it out and then lay out a side profile and then I'll worry about straightening out this twisted stave afterwards. A lot of work. I trimmed out the profile, show you what it looks like. It's the side profile, the front profile, and you see the pile of sawdust. I just want to remind everybody that, put the camera up a little bit. I want to remind everybody that black locust is an irritant and poisonous. So when I use the bandsaw, I don't have goggles, but I put on a shield. And you don't want to breathe in the dust. Like, the next thing I'm going to do is bring out the belt sander, and I'm going to take down all these saw marks that I have on the wood. And I will, when I bring that out to use it, I'm going to have a mask on and my shield. The first time I used black locust and I cleaned up, and I used the leaf blower. You see I got a broom here to clean up. I went to clean up and I used the leaf blower and blew everything off nice and clean, put everything away. And I didn't feel right, and I'm sitting in the house watching TV, and it looked like there was a fire in the house. Everything was foggy and cloudy, and then I looked up black locust and seen it was poisonous and irritant. So I went to the walk-in. They had to give me some medication, and they said, yes, you poisoned yourself with the black locust dust. That's all. Just want to give you a heads up. Sandon's next for me. I will be using a mask in my shield, and also I use the broom, as you see, to clean up, the leaf blower. I just cleaned up. I didn't realize the time. It's 5 o'clock already, so I'm going to wait for another day, get a nice day, and what I'm going to do is sand it, and I'm going to try some heat to get it to straighten out. It's really not that bad other than the ends. If you look at the growth rings, this is the good growth ring. It's nice there. Over here, it's twisted a little bit, and I followed the growth ring, and I'll have to get this limb to bend down a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can get it to shape up with some heat the next time around after I sand it. It's Monday, it's the next day, and it's pouring rain out. Well, on and off. We got a low spot now. So I really wanted to get this black locust bow floor tiller shaped and all the marks off and floor tiller. And I got it bending really nice. And I used the belt sander, a mask, and I have this shield that I use. Because like I stated on the prior video, it is an irritant and poisonous. And I got to sand it down, nice even thickness. All the tool marks are gone. The other side, I have it flexing. This is the side, let me see if you can see it, that has the twist with the grain. Okay, and I followed the angle of the ring on this side, and I'm going to try and straighten this out with the heat gun. Okay, this side here, the other side, is perfect. You know, this was a twisted log that I always had problems with, you know, and it produced twisted bows, and I got them working and shooting and all. But this should be fine. I think this is going to be fine once I heat it up with a heat gun and put it on a jig and straighten it out and fire harden it. And then if there's any little angles on the bottom, because the top is pretty good, you know, when I tiller it and remove material, that'll straighten it out. So that's all. Just wanted to show you that I didn't waste a rainy day today. And it came out really nice. Nice and even limb thicknesses. And we're going to put it on a jig, fire harden it next. We'll see how it comes out. stopped raining for enough for me to get this on the back set jig and start heat treating it, taking this big twist out of the one end. And then it's going to be fire hardened. Hopefully the rain will keep off for a little bit, just so I can get this to take a little bit of a set. I know the fire hardening will do the job. Trying to beat the rain. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 8th. It's about 10:45. I'm going to light these coals and we're going to fire harden that last piece of black locust twisted, that a lot of twisted bows came out and I had to straighten. I couldn't bring myself to cut it up for firewood, so I'm giving this one a last shot too. There we go. I have it a little higher than normal at this point because I hydrated this bow blank last night. Probably 2 o'clock in the morning I got up and I wiped it down and I left it outside. The rain had stopped. So how we check the heat is you hold your hand underneath, you go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If it's 1, 2, it's too hot. But if it's 1, 2, 3, that's good. Obviously, if you go under and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then you want to lower a little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. I'm going to add just a couple of more coals here. Okay, so that's what we do. We check the heat. And like I said, it's a little higher because the coal, and we got to watch because the coals are catching. Once these coals catch, it's going to be perfect. We're 5 to 11, and we're going to have like an 11 o'clock start time. The time isn't important. We look for the color. And black locust doesn't really brown. It turns black, and that's okay. You fire hardening the wood, it turns black. 2 important things that you need. One is these heavy fireplace gloves. And whenever you move this up or down, put them on. Because as this cooks, the wood dries out. And if you would slip it, it would go down and touch the coals for any longer than a split second, it could spontaneously combust. And when you have the gloves on, if it slipped, you just pick it right up. You can grab it anyways. And this is a stick, just a regular little 1x1 or 2x2, whatever it was, that you level out the coals. Make sure the coals are level and they conform to the shape of the bow blank. And if there's any hot spots, what you'll do is just knock them around and distribute the ashes so it's fairly even. I have this just barely hanging on now for a little leverage because I keep the clamps on the one side of the bow. This is where I have a clear vision of what's going on. You also, at the point where you've got the coals cooking, you just want to make sure that the coals only are cooking and smoking. They're catching up, not the wood. If the wood starts to smoke, you got to raise it up higher, okay? I do have this spritzer bottle that I hardly ever use. And when I was doing the sassafras and the Eastern Red Cedar, I made sure I had this by, because the Eastern Red Cedar especially seems to have a lower combustion rate, and you have to really monitor it a lot more. Okay, so that's it. The process should take about, even though there's really not, time isn't critical, I kind of give myself a 2-hour time. And we'll see what it looks like. I check it every 10 minutes, so I'm looking at it constantly, actually. I'm sitting here listening to the radio, watching it constantly. And at a half-hour mark, which will be 11:30, I'll pick it up and show you what it looks like. This has been going for about a half hour now. I raised it up, but I'm going to show you what it looks like under. Going from the riser to the fade out down to the end. There's a very light coloring going on. From the fade out to the left, going down, there's a light coloring going on. Looking good. Where we have the riser, you can see there's some less coals here. Because of the crumbled up foil, I was able to knock down to make it lower and push some coals on the side so the fade outs will get colored, get heat treated, and won't burn or crack the riser. It's another really windy day on Long Island. We got wind gusts up 30 miles an hour. And when you have the high wind gust and you got these coals cooking, the wind blowing on it makes it hotter, and you get a lot of ash developing. So constantly take the stick, knock the ash off, and constantly add coals on as you're knocking off the ash. And the other thing is, I didn't mention at the beginning, but constantly check the flames. All right, I had tightened these up a few times. You don't want to force nothing. Never force it. Because, see, when it turns, it goes by itself. So you just maybe an 1/8 or 1/16 of a turn every time I've been doing it. This one turned a little more. And just be aware of these things. And once again, make sure the wood ain't smoking, and how Keith Shannon from Shannon Outdoors came up with the correct height, how to measure this. And I don't know how he did it, but it really works great. You take your palm and you go underneath the limb. 1001, 1002, 1003. You don't want to hold it there. You want it to be hotter. You don't want to go 4 and you don't want to go 2. It would be too hot. So I'm going to lower this a little bit. Let's try it again. 1001, 1002, 1003. That's it. That little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's try over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Kind of weird. It works. It works. And if you're interested in fire hardening, I suggest that you go to Shannon Outdoors and you buy his fire hardening DVD. As a new bowyer, person making a bow, been doing this over a year now, and the idea that you can get local whitewoods and not spend a lot of money on buying staves that you find out have worms or bad. And don't get me wrong, there are some good guys out there that sell premium staves, but there's a lot of guys that rip you off too. One guy in particular took like $240 from a bunch of us for Osage premium staves, and he disappeared. He's a thief. So that's what you have to deal with. But if you buy the fire hardening video and you watch and you learn, you know, you can get local woods in your backyard. You can have a shootable bow in a couple of days. All right, now there's also, because I have disc damage, nerve damage, this is a $12 gutter, $59 grill. It's held on with a clamp and a bracket, and I put a slit inside the, one of these bolts extend a little longer, and I have a slit on the inside gutter. There's a gutter and a gutter here. And what that allows you to do is have an expandable gutter for different size bows. All right, it's a wooden fire hardening back set jig that I have, regular angle irons. It's all, you know, if you're a little handy, you can make them. The stanchions are from, I believe it was Target Sports, and what those metal stanchions on the bottom are, that the 2x4s are in, they're for holding those big plate handgun targets, but they're 2x4s. So I put 2x4s in, and screws, and you can put as many screws as you want to adjust the height, and it works out well. So this is my gutter fire hardening system, and there's videos on it. You can go back and look at my videos. All right, and I think everybody, at least if you're into archery, everybody at one time in their life should make a self bow. Okay, and the crucial part of all of this is the crucial part is tillering. Another thing that I learned from Team Shannon is that micro tillering with a yardstick. You mark like, I mark always like an inch from the string groove. I mark the fades, and then I mark a center line from the fade out to the tip, the center line. And I only bend as he stated, bend down only just level, and I go a little bit more below level, like 1 inch at a time. So just enough so I can put the yardstick up and see where it's flat and where there's a space. And wherever there's a flat spot, you put a little pencil mark, and that'll be the following video, tillering. So I suggest after you watch this, you watch my tillering video on this black locust bow, okay? So that's it. It's almost an hour. Not much has changed. I'm going to wait a little longer before I show you. Okay, we're about an hour and 10 minutes into this, and I took that stick and I aggressively knocked around the coals. I pushed them up and down and laid them out, and I added new coals on. All right, so now, of course, the wind really, you go through a lot more coals in the high winds. So I'm going to show you what it looks like underneath. From the riser to the right, we got a little more coloring going on. Down to the tips. From the riser, going down to the tips, we got a little more coloring. Okay, what I do at this hour mark now is I move the clamps over a little bit. I will move them over like an inch, just so there's white spots underneath. I believe that the fire hardening will go all around this, regardless of the clamps. But I wanted to move it so a different spot is getting the heat. And it's more for aesthetics too. It'll look a little nicer without the big white patches. And that's it. I'm going to put my gloves on. I'm going to lower it down, and because I added new coals, we got to really watch it. Because as the coals catch, it's going to get a little hotter, and it'll have to be raised a little more. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and we're going to put it down just a little longer. Starting at the fade out, going down to the right. We got color going down to the tip. From the fade out, going down to the left. We got color going down all the way down to the tip. It's 1 o'clock. We're at that 2-hour mark. And we're just going to let it go for a little while. It's not going to hurt nothing. I remember this black locust at a couple of the ones I made had a little spring back. They didn't want to conform to the jig, so we're going to let this cook for a little bit longer. And then the next time you'll see this, it'll be on the table, and I'll show you the bottom. Here are my ducks. They landed in the pool next to me. Walking along the edge of the pool, right behind me. They watch me shoot the bow. I know it's a safe zone here for them. I took it off, put it on the table. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. And we got color going from the end all the way down to the fade outs, to the bottom of the riser. Everything looks really nice, really got dark color. And we're going to let it cool. It's pretty much cool to the touch now. It's been sitting here less than 5 minutes, but we're going to let it cool more. And then we're going to hydrate. And I'm going to get a wet rag, soaking wet rag, and I'm going to put moisture on it throughout the afternoon and then put it in the house. And crazy temperatures here. By tomorrow morning, it should be below freezing. So at some point, I'm going to put buffalo horn tips, some nice buffalo horn tips on this, and cut string grooves, and the next video will be tillering. So we're going to have a nice tillering video. It'll be a good idea to watch it. It's like kind of like watching paint dry, because I take my time, but I want you to understand the idea of where I mark and use the yardstick. This way you can get a nice even bend and come down to your draw length with no stress on the limbs. All right, I'm going to stop here before the wind blows over the camera stand. The fire hardening is complete, and the one limb that was very twisted has a tiny bit of spring back, but that's okay. That's absolutely fine. And let me show you it, and then I'll show you how I hydrate it. Okay, we have coloring going down to the tips, fade outs to the tips. Okay, I'm going to show you, this is what we do. You have to put moisture back in this. This thing here is dry. And like Keith Shannon says, you can't, as good as he is, he can't tiller a potato chip. So look at the water. See? We're going to put moisture back in this. And this afternoon, I'm just going to keep on going out in the back porch. And I'm going to keep on putting moisture in this. Okay, don't be afraid to put moisture back in. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Seems crazy, but you got to put moisture back in this. Fire hardening changes the structure of the cells. It makes the wood a little bit waterproof. It makes it harder. It makes it springier. It makes it keep the shape of the jig when you fire harden it. But it's not totally waterproof. And you want to put moisture back in. You want to put moisture in for when you start tillering this. You want, like, if you can, 6% to 8% moisture. All right, so you want to get moisture back in this. And at some point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put nice buffalo horn tips on this, cut string grooves, and then there'll be a tillering video. Okay. Once again, I encourage you to go to Shannon Outdoors and buy his fire hardening DVD. Very informative. It'll change the way you think about making bows. You don't have to age them forever and ever and ever. Okay? So, every day you wake up is a good day. Make the best out of it. Get out and shoot. Cut a tree. Fire harden it. Make a bow. All right? Anybody who's into archery at one point in their time in their life, they really should make a self bow. All right? You kind of owe it to yourself for the full experience. You're into traditional archery, you should make a bow that was a tree, you know, and shape it up. And when you shoot arrows out of it, it's the most amazing thing. Okay? Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for there'll be a tillering video.